Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me here in my studio today. I have a brand new video on WandaVision episode 8. I'll be doing a breakdown and review of the episode because guys, this was such an action-packed episode. We got a lot of explanation, we got a lot of Easter eggs, and I just think we should get right into it. So guys, the episodes open up in 1693, where we see Agatha Harkness, you know, Agnes. She is on a witch trial. You see, she has been practicing some magic she's not supposed to, some really dark magic, and it seems like she has taken control of some people, you know, probably some mind control, you know, kind of the same type Wanda is doing with people, you know, making them, you know, her own little zombies to do whatever she wants. And that really seems to be the case here too, as they state she has done some dark magic where she has been in control of something, so I'm guessing that's the people. So guys, now we know that witches exist inside the MCU. It's so cool that they're really expanding upon the magic side of the MCU, which I really do like, and I hope we see some more of that in Doctor Strange too. But yeah, Agatha here, she is on trial, and it seems that her mother is the leader of this witch cult, and she's the one in charge. And it seems like they're trying to drain Agnes's power here, you know, they're just trying to remove it since she has used some black magic. But it seems that Agnes's dark magic prevents them from that, and instead drains their life force. That's at least what it seems, because they look horrifying. Like when Agnes uses her magic to counter them, they just like, they end up looking like zombies. So yeah, I'm guessing she's sucking out their life force, or at least their magic life force, and because these witches could be multiple hundred years old, as Agnes herself, that's maybe why they die, because Agnes is sucking out their life force or either their magic powers. Agatha does end up killing her own mother, which she doesn't really seem to have that much against, so it's kind of cool we get this Agatha, you know, Harkness origin story. It's so cool to see that this is a good witch, you know, who experimented with some dark magic and ended up being evil, so I kind of like that. It's kind of comic booky and, you know, I'm all for that, so I approve this origin. Moving on from that, we end up in present day, you know, where the last episode ended, with, you know, Agatha standing there with the rabbit, you know, real Bond villainy, you know, just petting it, and explaining to Wanda who she is and what it is she wants. And what Agnes wants is to know how Wanda, you know, used her magic to create such huge illusions, because apparently illusions, you know, and all of that good stuff, it's really hard to do, even just small ones that are believable. But because Wanda has created some mind control illusions on such a wild scale, she even says her magic is an autopilot, she really wants to know that, and she wants to learn it for herself, since she wants to become a more powerful witch. But of course, as we know from all the way back in episode 6, Wanda doesn't even know herself, she doesn't really know how all of this started, but of course Agatha will help her remember, and that's what this episode is all about. Wanda and Agatha really take a trip down memory lane this episode, which I really enjoyed. I really thought we would get some more, you know, Wanda origins, and I was right about that. It's so cool to see. I really think we needed it, because we really needed a Wanda focused episode, you know, where everything is explained. I didn't get as many answers as I wanted, but I think most of that will come in next week's episode, so I'm kind of happy for that. But it's just so cool to see all these memory, you know, coming into play, and I think we should just start with the first one. So the first memory that Wanda and Agatha goes to experience is Wanda's traumatic childhood, you know, with the missile exploding. We see Wanda's dad coming home, where he's not really selling a lot of DVDs as it seems that he's selling, and you know, he's just coming home, but of course he has a supporting family, and this seems like a really lovely family, you know. Even though they're poor and don't really have a lot, they stick together, and I really like the family dynamic, and I really like the chemistry. But of course, you know, Wanda and Pietro, they come out, you know, they're playing their small, and they're just reliving their old memories, and I just really love that. It was just so sweet to see these two play together. It's also here we learn of Wanda's love for sitcoms, as she really loved to see sitcoms when she was younger, especially one specific, which, you know, was the idea and, you know, the main inspiration for the first two black and white episodes. I'm of course talking about the Dick Van Dyke Show, which is a really great sitcom. It's one of the first, and it's just a really fun show. I've only seen a bit of it, you know, when doing research for WandaVision, but from what I've seen, it's really good, and it's really no adherent to that time period, which I kind of like. It's really charming. But yeah, it's movie night, so that means also that the family has to speak English, and I just thought that's a really fun ritual they got, that every Friday or movie night, I think it was on Fridays, they have to speak English, and I just like this Sokovian accent. Also that Agnes just makes, you know, some fun remarks to it, as you know, Wanda kind of loses the accents and get it. It's kind of like random when she has it or not, and I kind of thought that was really funny. But I really think they should bring that back, as I really did like the aspect of that on Wanda. As we learn in Avengers Age of Ultron, this all becomes, you know, just such a huge catastrophe. A Stark Industries missile land in their home, you know, killing their mother and their father, you know, under the rubble, and Wanda and Pietro are just stuck under the bed, like we heard in Avengers Age of Ultron, waiting for the missile to explode. And this took 2 days, as was also said in Avengers Age of Ultron, but, you know, we hear it here again. And this was just so tragic, you know, Wanda was just kind of laying there, you know, and she was just telling herself, it's all a bad dream, it's all a bad dream, I'll wake up. But could that be a nod to what Wanda's world actually is? Is this all just a bad dream made by someone like Nightmare or Mephisto? I really think there's more to this going on, and it was just a clever hint. Or maybe it's just, you know, Marvel taunting us theorists, you know, us fanboys, you know, who's coming up with our own little ideas about what's going on. What is it? Tell me in the comments below, guys. I would really love to hear that. But this is like the first time Wanda experiences such big trauma, and to be honest, that's enough trauma for one life. Like, Wanda and Tony Stark are probably the Avengers that have experienced the most trauma, and it really has affected Wanda negatively. Like, you can really see some anxiety and depression, and it's just so cool that, you know, we see this honest side of Wanda. Like, it's so cool that we finally see Wanda explored to her full extent. Wanda does explain to Agnes that this is not where she got her powers. It was not that she just got them, you know, they just came to her and she saved everyone. That's definitely not the case. She got them later when she joined the terror organization Hydra because she was a bit rebellious when she was younger. And of course, that's our next stop down memory lane. We see Wanda's, you know, time at Hydra when she got her powers. And Wanda, you know, she's just, you know, a volunteer for this experiment. She gets into the room and she is, you know, exposed to the Mind Stone. And I kind of liked how it just floated out and wanted, like, to seek out to her. Like, at first I thought, was that her, you know, who was doing that? But no, it just came out as itself, you know, on its own. And just, you know, went to seek out Wanda. And when Wanda touched it, you know, we see the Mind Stone inside. You know, we see the yellow Mind Stone inside. And it looks like, you know, Vision's forehead actually to me, you know, exploding. Like, kind of what we saw in Infinity War when it was exploding. So I really like the resemblance to that. But this is where we get probably one of my favorite shots from this episode. We see Wanda in her Scarlet Witch costume. Of course, it's more a silhouette, but we do see her, like, her full potential. And I was just, it was hands down so cool. It was so comic accurate and something I've been waiting to see. And I do think we'll get that in the finale, especially with the hints at the end of this episode. Now, I was actually hoping for some Pietro Maximoff cameos to come here, like the actual Aaron Taylor Johnson, but I think they might save that for the finale because I still have my hopes up he'll show up. I really do. I really want him to come, but if he doesn't show up, like, that's understandable. But I'm just hoping, you know, I'm just hoping. Give us that Pietro, come on, man. But yeah, it was just so cool to see, like, her Hydra days, and I really enjoyed that aspect of her. From here, we move on to Wanda's days as a young Avenger, you know, after the events of Age of Ultron, where she has just lost her brother, and we see her in her room, and it's, as Agatha says, it's a really nice room. It's a much better upgrade than her last one, and we see Vision coming in, you know, just to give her some comfort and joining her this lonely evening. And this is where Wanda has her first major breakdown. She is so sad of everything that's happened. She has lost her entire family. First her mom and her dad, and now Pietro, the one person she has had for her entire life who's always been with her. And Vision says some really comforting words here. You know, he's talking about how he doesn't really have experience, but still he's trying to understand her, and Wanda really appreciates that, and they end up watching a sitcom together. And this is where we, you know, we really see Wanda's and Vision's, you know, first spark in their, you know, long-term relationship, and it's so wonderful to see. It was so lovely. I love that scene. But like everything else that Wanda has loved in her life, she has to lose Vision as well. He dies, you know, after the events of Infinity War, you know, when Thanos, you know, just takes the Mind Stone out of his head. Of course, this was also a major traumatic moment for Wanda, because Vision was the one she wanted to marry, she was the one she wanted to grow old with, as we've seen that letter later in the episode, and it's just so sad that she also has to lose this. Like, Wanda has really been experiencing some traumatic events, and she's just had enough. And after the death of Vision, she goes to the Sword facilities, as we learned in some of the earlier episodes. And when Wanda goes to the Sword facility, she's actually being really nice, like much nicer than I thought. I thought she was just, you know, flying, you know, rip out everything, you know, and just, like, you know, being a really pain in the ass for the Sword people. But no, she's actually just going up to the reception and asking for a Vision and stuff. And then she comes to visit Director Tyler's, you know, office. And to be honest, I'm getting so confused to Director Tyler at the moment, like, because at some part of me just wants to believe that he's just, you know, a normal guy, you know, just a technological villain. But sometimes he really says some creepy stuff that makes me think he's a supernatural villain. But I guess we'll just have to see till next week's episode, because it's kind of like he wants Wanda to take Vision, but at the end we learn that, you know, he has Vision's body still, and it's so confusing overall, like what's going on with Director Tyler. So if you guys have some good theories, but I hope that's one of the answers we get in next week's episode, guys. So yeah, comment down below what you think about Director Tyler and who he is. But yeah, he's just allowing Wanda to say goodbye to Vision here, and this is why I'm kind of confused to Director Tyler, because on the other hand, he seems like a good man, you know, a general person who just wants, you know, to make sure that there are no threats to the world. But on the other hand, he seems really creepy. But yeah, Wanda is just, you know, she gets her one chance to say goodbye to Vision here. And when she tries, you know, to use her power to feel Vision, you know, who he is, like his warmth, you know, his psyche and stuff, and she can't, it's just so heartbreaking to see, because he used to do that. And it's just, it really hit me in the heart. Like, this was a really hard to swallow episode. It was really hard to get through because of the feelings. Like, this was really a major roller coaster for me. But of course, Wanda leaves actually without causing any trouble. Like, when we first heard about it, it sounded like, you know, she broke in and, you know, and fought off all the guards, you know, and stole the body. But she actually doesn't even take the body. She just goes away, you know. She goes to her car and drives away. And in her car seat, you know, she has this letter, and she's kind of looking around as to who put it there. So I'm kind of confused at that. But I think this is where Director Tyler comes in and maybe have put it in if he is a mysterious, you know, person. But yeah, I really do think there's another, big bad, who's behind all of this, because that's really what it's leading up to this show. And to be honest, it's just been really, really confusing lately as to who's the true villain. But I really do think we will get these answers in the next episode. But it's just been so confusing, and I'm just curious to see how the show will handle the ending. But yeah, Wanda, she kind of just drives off on her own. She drives to New Jersey. She drives to Westview, which is apparently the place where Vision, he envisions, Wanda and him to grow old together, which we'll see on the card in the letter she got, with, the drawings, the architect drawings of the house. And this is also the moment, when Wanda, she steps out of the car, she goes to where the house was supposed to be built. And this is why she has her second breakdown, and she's just had enough of everything. Like, Wanda is really coming to realization with all she's lost, and it was just a really powerful moment to see. And I gotta praise Elizabeth Olsen's acting in this episode. She handled all the emotions so well. Like, oh god, she really made me feel something in my heart. And that's, that's what movies and TVs are supposed to do. They're supposed to tell you a story where you feel something, and they really nailed that with this episode. It was just so powerful, and I was just in love with the acting this episode. But of course, this is where Wanda, she gets out of control. Her emotion gets out of control. We've seen some of this earlier in Avengers Age of Ultron, and sometimes she can't control them. So yeah, Wanda just lets go, and she just rewrites, she rewrites everything. She creates the hex. So yeah, and she said she didn't really, know how the hex was created, and she didn't know who was it, but now we do have it confirmed. It's Wanda. She might just don't remember it, or maybe she's, compressing the memories or something. But I definitely think there's something else going on, something really fishy, because it feels like she has been set up to create the hex, like something has been pushing her towards making the hex, or at least that's how I see it. So I'm really, really curious to see if there's something there. But yeah, she is the one who creates the hex. Now, this has really, really made me realize that Wanda is probably the most powerful, human Avenger that we have. Like, she is really, really powerful. I bet she could kill Captain Marvel, to be honest. Like, her powers this episode, it just so, like, they were immense. Like, what the was going on. Like, it was just crazy. Like, she went nuts with everything. Like, I have massive respect for Wanda, and I've gotten even more after this episode. Like, Wanda literally used her powers to bring back Vision. Like, imagine how powerful you've had to be to bring a person back from the dead. Like, she is on another level. And it is when Wanda turns herself into black and white. I think this is why she's repressed her memories, or at least forgot something, or erased them from her own mind, in order to live in this bubblegum perfect world that she has created. And it was just a really powerful moment, and it really shows us what Wanda is capable of doing. And this is really where Wanda and Agnes, they learn what is going on, how powerful Wanda actually is. And this really surprises Agnes, who just slides away. And Wanda, she's just even more confused as to what's going on. But this is when she hears her children scream. Agnes still has her children, as we learned last episode. She's holding them captive in her basement. So Wanda finally hears her children screaming. She wants out to save them, and the two end up in the middle of the street. Now, this is where we see Agatha in her comic accurate suit, and it looks so good. Like, it's a really cool modernized witch costume, and it's just so cool to see. And she's kind of, holding Billy and Atomic, she's holding them in like some restraints around the neck, choking them, and this is just so painful for Wanda to see, and she gets really pissed. But of course, she can use her magic here, as earlier in the episode she couldn't, because Agnes has put some runes up on the walls, which only allowed her to use some magic. But what this tells me is that Agnes actually do believe that Wanda is a witch, but I don't really think Wanda is actually a witch, and I have a theory I'll talk about at the end. But yeah, Agnes is kind of calling Wanda a witch, and she's just, mocking her and stuff, and she says, "I know what you are, I know why you're so powerful, you are so dangerously powerful." Like, you can feel that Agnes actually fearing Wanda and what she can do, because she believes her to be a Scarlet Witch.
This is chaos magic, Wanda. And that makes you the Scarlet Witch.
And boom, guys, we got the name drop. Wanda is the Scarlet Witch now. It's canon in the MCU, and I'm so happy that we finally got it. Like, oh, it took so long. But yeah, we finally got the name drop, and it was so cool to see. Like, first we got the hints to the comic accurate costume earlier this episode, and now we got the actual name drop. I'm just so happy with what's going on, and I can literally not express that enough. But of course, this is where the episode ends off. It always ends on a cliffhanger, and this is this week's cliffhanger. But of course, there's a post-credit scene, which I'll get around to. But yeah, guys, last but not least, let's talk about the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene shows Director Tyler, he's going around at sword facilities, and he's finally, getting his weapon ready. And we finally see what his massive weapon is. It's Vision. And guys, like I predicted in my last review, this is Great Vision. I can't believe I actually predicted that, and I'm so glad that it's actually him, because he's such a cool character in the comics, and it's really fun to see like an evil Vision going up against Wanda. But of course, I think, there will be some chemistry. I'm kind of curious to ask if they will kill Vision off in the next episode, or if he will come back to life as Great Vision, but a good Great Vision or something. So really, guys, let's just get some theories going in the comments. I know I've asked you to write a lot today, but this was just such an Easter egg full and just mind episode. So yeah, there's just a lot to discuss, and I would really love to invite you to discuss it along with me down below. And with that said, I guess that's a wrap. Thank you guys so much for watching this video with me. If you liked it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, as I would really appreciate it, as I'm a new channel starting to grow here on YouTube, and I would love to invite you along with me on my YouTube journey. And if you do want to join me here on my channel, make sure to press that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, as I upload new videos almost daily, so there's always some new fresh content for you guys to enjoy. So yeah guys, just remember to stay safe out there and have a good one. Bye.